There is a quiet power in silence. Too often we feel the need to share every detail of our lives, to define ourselves by our work, our achievements, or our titles. But I want to invite you today to consider something different. Never tell people what you do. You are not defined by your job. It's easy to fall into the trap of equating your identity with your occupation, especially in a society that often values what you do over who you are. From an early age, we are taught to answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? With a career or title. We tie our self-worth to our achievements, and we start to believe that our value lies in our ability to perform certain tasks or hold specific roles. But this mindset can limit us, causing us to overlook the depth of our true selves and the vastness of who we are beyond our work. The reality is that our work, while important, is only one part of the puzzle that makes up our existence. It's just one role we play in life, and it does not capture the full spectrum of our experiences, qualities, and essence. By defining ourselves solely by our jobs, we may miss the opportunity to explore and express the multifaceted nature of who we truly are. Our worth is not tied to our profession or our success in the workplace. It's defined by our character, our passions, our relationships, and the love we share with others. Think about how many aspects of your life exist outside of work. Your creativity, your kindness, your ability to listen, the way you support others, the love you give to your family and friends, the values you uphold. These are all things that are far more significant than the job you have. Yet, when we introduce ourselves, how often do we feel compelled to start with, I'm a lawyer, or I'm a teacher, or I'm a teacher, or I'm a doctor? This is not a bad thing. These titles often represent a part of our journey, but they do not represent all of who we are. When we overly identify with our jobs, we risk narrowing our sense of self and falling into the trap of measuring our value by external markers of success. Our jobs can be a source of fulfillment, but they should not be the sole determinant of our happiness or self-worth. Often people define themselves by their work because it provides external validation. We may feel a sense of accomplishment when others admire our profession or the work we do, but this kind of validation is fleeting. It's based on others' perceptions of us, not our own internal sense of value. Relying on external validation can lead to insecurity and a lack of confidence because it is not grounded in our true self. Consider the people who have left their jobs or transitioned to new careers. For some, this is a choice they make to pursue something that better aligns with their passions, values, and desires. For others, it may be a result of unforeseen circumstances, such as job loss or retirement. In either case, if someone's identity is solely tied to their job, the shift can feel unsettling. But what happens when we recognize that who we are goes far beyond our occupation? We realize that we are resilient, adaptable, and capable of finding new ways to express ourselves even when our work situation changes. It allows us to embrace new opportunities with confidence and a sense of freedom, knowing that our identity does not hinge on the work we do. Life is constantly changing, and so are we. The roles we take on, whether it's as an employee, a parent, a student, a volunteer, or a leader, are simply parts of our journey. They don't define us, they're experiences through which we grow and evolve. Even when we find ourselves in difficult work situations or face career challenges, we should remember that our true self is always intact. Our worth remains unchanged, no matter what's happening in our professional lives. When you stop defining yourself by your job, you make room for growth in all areas of your life. You give yourself the space to explore other passions, interests, and talents that have nothing to do with work. You realize that you are a person full of potential and possibility, far more complex than any job title can express. You begin to prioritize your emotional, mental, and physical well-being over career-based success, understanding that your happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external achievements. Ultimately, by detaching your identity from your job, you reclaim your power. You acknowledge that while work is a part of who you are, it does not define your essence. Your self-worth is found in your relationships, your integrity, your compassion, and the way you contribute to the world. These are the qualities that truly define you, not your job title. When you embrace this, you'll find a deeper sense of peace and confidence, knowing that your value isn't dependent on anything outside yourself. You are whole and you are worthy just as you are. Silence holds power in ways that are often overlooked in a world that is constantly speaking, shouting, and demanding attention. In a society that values noise, whether it's the constant chatter of social media, the 24-hour news cycle, or the everyday conversations that fill our days, we may have forgotten the true strength of silence. We may have become conditioned to believe that in order to be heard, we must always speak, always share, and always make ourselves visible. But silence, in its quiet wisdom, has a profound power that can shape our lives, relationships, and inner peace in ways that words alone cannot. When we allow ourselves to be silent, we create space for clarity. It is in the stillness that we often find our most powerful insights. In moments of silence, we have the opportunity to listen to our thoughts, to our bodies, and to the world around us. In this space, we are no longer overwhelmed by external noise and distractions. We can hear our own voice, our true desires, and our innermost needs. This clarity allows us to make decisions from a place of understanding rather than from a place of chaos or confusion. Silence gives us the chance to reconnect with ourselves and access the wisdom that lies deep within. Moreover, silence allows us to listen to others in a way that words cannot. In conversations, often we are so focused on what we want to say next that we don't truly listen to the person in front of us. We are consumed with our own thoughts, judgments, and reactions, but in silence we open ourselves up to understanding. When we stop talking and start listening, we show others that we value them, that we are present, and that we are willing to hear them fully. In the absence of words, we create space for empathy, for connection, and for deeper understanding. This is the power of silence in relationships. It strengthens bonds, fosters trust, and cultivates respect. Silence also holds power when it comes to our own healing. So often we are bombarded by external expectations and demands, leaving little room for introspection and self-care. The constant noise of the world can drown out the signals our body and mind are sending us, preventing us from recognizing when we need rest, when we need to heal, and when we need to let go. Silence provides the opportunity to check in with ourselves, to reflect on how we're feeling physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It allows us to tune into our inner world and address any imbalances or discomforts. In this space, we can access our intuition and hear the gentle whispers that guide us toward healing, self-compassion, and growth. But silence does not only serve as a tool for inner peace and personal reflection, it can also be a powerful form of communication. In a world where words can sometimes be used carelessly or in ways that cause harm, silence offers an alternative. There are moments when saying nothing speaks louder than any words could. For instance, in a conflict, responding with silence can sometimes convey more power and control than responding with anger or frustration. In certain situations, silence can be a powerful way to set boundaries, express disapproval, or simply allow the other person to process their thoughts. It shows that you are not willing to engage in the noise or the drama, but instead you are grounded in your own peace and understanding. Silence in these moments can be a profound statement of self-respect and strength. Another aspect of silence's power is its ability to foster creativity. When we stop talking, stop thinking, and stop filling every moment with noise, we make room for creativity to flourish. Silence opens the door to new ideas, innovative solutions, and fresh perspectives. Many creative breakthroughs happen in moments of quiet when the mind is free from distractions and is allowed to wander. In these quiet moments, inspiration can strike in the most unexpected ways. Silence creates the space for our imagination to roam freely, unencumbered by the chatter of the outside world. It is in the stillness that we are often able to connect the dots in ways that we would not have been able to if we were constantly in motion. In our everyday lives, we may fear silence because it feels uncomfortable or awkward. We may feel the need to fill every gap with noise to avoid facing our thoughts, emotions, or discomforts. But if we learn to embrace silence and recognize its power, we can transform the way we approach life. Silence is not something to fear, it is something to cherish. It is in silence that we can tap into our deepest potential, connect with others on a more meaningful level, and find the peace that often eludes us in the hustle and bustle of the world. Silence holds power because it allows us to hear and understand ourselves and others in a way that words cannot. It helps us listen, heal, create and communicate in ways that go far beyond the surface. When we embrace silence, we free ourselves from the need to constantly prove ourselves, from the need to be seen and heard at all costs. We become more grounded, more mindful, and more connected to the richness of life itself. So rather than fearing silence or filling every moment with noise, we can choose to honor its power and allow it to guide us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In a world where titles and accolades often define success, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation through external recognition. We are taught from an early age to strive for achievements, to accumulate degrees, and to build impressive resumes. Whether it's a job title, a position of authority, or societal labels that signify success, these markers often become a measure of our worth. However, when we rely on titles to validate our value, we risk losing sight of who we truly are and what we genuinely desire. Titles are external symbols, but they don't define our inner essence or dictate our happiness. The desire for validation is deeply ingrained in human nature. From the praise we seek as children to the recognition we hope for as adults, there is a natural instinct to want to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. Titles can offer a sense of accomplishment and public acknowledgement, but they often come with a hidden cost. When we become overly attached to titles, we begin to measure our worth against them. We start to believe that the more prestigious the title, the more valuable we are as individuals. This mentality creates a never-ending cycle of striving for more promotions, more recognition, more labels. But in the end, titles are fleeting. They can be taken away, replaced, or rendered meaningless over time. One of the dangers of seeking validation through titles is that it creates a false sense of self-worth. If we base our value on what others perceive us to be, we are giving away our power. Our worth becomes dependent on external opinions, and we lose touch with our intrinsic value. Titles, by nature, are subjective. They depend on the standards and expectations of the world around us. What society deems valuable today may be irrelevant tomorrow. If we derive our self-worth from these external factors, we risk being swayed by changing trends, opinions, or circumstances. Moreover, the trap of validation through titles often leads to a constant need for external approval. When we define ourselves by our jobs or positions, we are essentially seeking validation from others. This constant craving for recognition can leave us feeling empty or unfulfilled, as we realize that no amount of praise or admiration can fill the deeper need for self-acceptance. We may reach the pinnacle of success in our careers, But if we have not cultivated a sense of internal validation, we are left feeling hollow. The title may no longer bring the joy or fulfillment we imagined it would. True fulfillment comes from within, not from external accolades or titles. When we stop seeking validation through titles, we create the space to focus on our intrinsic worth. Our value lies in who we are, how we show up in the world, and the impact we have on those around us. It is found in our kindness, our generosity, and the love we share with others. It is reflected in our character, our resilience, and our ability to face challenges with grace. These qualities cannot be captured in a job description or a label. They are the essence of who we are as human beings. Letting go of the need for external validation allows us to live more authentically. We can focus on what truly matters to us rather than constantly seeking approval from others. We can pursue passions, hobbies, and interests without the pressure of having them fit into a predefined mold or career path. When we are not tied to the validation of titles, we free ourselves to explore life on our own terms. We are able to make choices that align with our values and desires without being constrained by the expectations of others or the desire to impress. Another benefit of releasing the need for validation through titles is that we begin to cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness. We become more in tune with our own needs, goals, and passions without the influence of external pressures. Without the distraction of titles and labels, we can focus on our personal growth and development. We can redefine success on our own terms, choosing to prioritize what brings us joy, peace, and fulfillment over what society tells us we should achieve. Furthermore, when we no longer rely on titles to define us, we begin to appreciate the value of every experience, regardless of whether it comes with a title. We may not have a formal title or position, but that doesn't diminish the value of the work we do or the contributions we make. Whether we are volunteering, raising a family, or pursuing personal growth, every action we take has meaning. We start to see that our worth is not determined by what we are called, but by the impact we have on the world and the people around us. Every moment spent living authentically, being true to ourselves, and helping others is a moment of immense value. Lastly, by stepping away from the trap of validation through titles, we also learn to appreciate others for who they are, not what they do. When we stop defining ourselves by our roles, we can begin to see others more clearly without the filter of societal expectations. We begin to recognize the inherent worth in everyone, regardless of their job title or status. This shift in perspective allows us to form deeper, more meaningful connections with others based on shared values and human experience, rather than superficial labels. In the end, the validation we seek through titles is an illusion, a temporary fix that can never truly satisfy our deeper needs for acceptance and fulfillment. By choosing to redefine our self-worth from the inside out, we liberate ourselves from the limitations of external recognition. We embrace the truth that our value lies in our character, our actions, and the love we share with others. Titles may come and go, but our intrinsic worth remains constant, unshaken by the ever-changing world around us. In today's world, where success is often measured by titles, positions, and accolades, it can be easy to lose sight of what truly matters: our authenticity. We are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us that our value is determined by the titles we hold, the jobs we occupy, and the status we achieve. Whether it's a prestigious job title, a certain level of income, or recognition from others, society places a heavy emphasis on external markers of success. But in the pursuit of titles, we risk losing the very essence of who we are, our true selves. Authenticity is about being true to ourselves, embracing who we are without the need for validation from others. It is a deep understanding of our own values, desires, and passions, and the courage to live according to those principles. Authenticity is not dependent on external measures of success, nor is it defined by what others think of us. It is a reflection of our inner truth, a sense of alignment between who we are inside and how we show up in the world. In contrast, titles can be fleeting and superficial. A title may bring a moment of pride or recognition, but it does not define the depth of who we are. Titles are often given based on external achievements such as a high-ranking job, a degree, or a public role, but they fail to capture the full range of our human experience. They are limited and conditional based on what we've done or what society perceives as valuable in a given moment. Titles may open doors, but they cannot provide lasting fulfillment. Once we attach our worth to them, we risk finding ourselves chasing more titles, more recognition, and more validation, all while neglecting our true desires and authentic selves. The danger of prioritizing titles over authenticity lies in the fact that titles can easily become a mask obscuring our true nature. We may begin to shape our identities around what we think others expect of us rather than what feels true to us. We might take on roles or positions that do not align with our passions or values simply to gain approval or status. The result is a disconnect between who we are on the inside and how we present ourselves to the world. This dissonance can lead to feelings of emptiness, frustration, and dissatisfaction as we struggle to reconcile the person we are with the image we project. When we prioritize authenticity over titles, we free ourselves from the pressure to conform to external standards of success. We are no longer defined by what others think we should do or achieve. Instead, we focus on what brings us joy, fulfillment, and purpose. Authenticity allows us to make choices based on our own values rather than on the expectations placed on us by society, family, or peers. It gives us the courage to step away from paths that don't resonate with our true selves, even if those paths offer recognition, prestige, or material rewards. Living authentically also empowers us to form deeper, more meaningful connections with others. When we are true to ourselves, we attract people who appreciate us for who we really are, not for the titles or roles we occupy. Authentic relationships are built on honesty, vulnerability, and mutual respect, rather than on superficial judgments based on external achievements. By letting go of the need to impress others with titles, we can create space for genuine connections, where we are seen, heard, and valued for our true selves. Moreover, authenticity allows us to approach life with greater peace and clarity. When we live in alignment with our values and passions, we are more content with who we are and where we are in life. We no longer feel the need to chase after titles or external markers of success to prove our worth. Instead, we focus on personal growth, meaningful experiences, and the pursuit of our true passions. Authenticity offers a sense of inner peace as we stop measuring our success by comparison to others and begin to appreciate the unique path we are on. The beauty of choosing authenticity over titles is that it allows us to embrace imperfection and vulnerability. Titles can create pressure to be perfect, to perform at a certain level, or to meet certain expectations. But when we embrace authenticity, we give ourselves permission to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to learn and grow from those experiences. We no longer feel the need to present a polished version of ourselves to the world. Instead, we show up as we are, with all of our flaws, strengths, and complexities. In doing so, we encourage others to do the same, fostering an environment of acceptance and authenticity. It is also important to recognize that authenticity is a journey, not a destination. It is an ongoing process of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and self-expression. As we grow and evolve, so too does our understanding of our authentic selves. We may shift our priorities, change our goals, or evolve in ways that no longer align with previous titles or roles. But rather than feeling lost or uncertain, authenticity allows us to navigate these changes with confidence and clarity, knowing that we are always true to who we are, regardless of what title we may or may not hold. In a world that often emphasizes external success, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of titles. But true fulfillment comes not from the titles we wear, but from living authentically, from being true to our inner selves. Authenticity brings peace, joy, and deeper connections, while titles are often fleeting and shallow. When we choose authenticity over titles, we create a life that is deeply meaningful and aligned with who we are. We step into our own power, knowing that we are enough, just as we are, without needing the validation of external recognition. By embracing authenticity, we not only find personal fulfillment, but we also encourage others to do the same, creating a world where our true selves are valued above all else. In a world that often measures success by achievements, titles, and accolades, it is easy to fall into the trap of defining our worth by what we do. We are conditioned from a young age to strive for success, to pursue careers, and to build a reputation based on our accomplishments. Whether it's a prestigious job, an impressive degree, or a public recognition, we are often taught to believe that these external markers of success are the true measure of our value. However, the truth is that our worth is not determined by what we do, but by who we are. It is who we are on the inside, the qualities that make us unique, the way we treat others, and the love and kindness we give that truly define our value. The misconception that our worth is tied to our achievements stems from a society that places a heavy emphasis on external success. We live in a culture that celebrates titles, promotions, and visible accomplishments. From a young age, we are taught that doing well in school, climbing the career ladder, and accumulating wealth are the keys to happiness and fulfillment. These goals are certainly not wrong, but they do not define who we are. While achievements can be fulfilling and provide a sense of purpose, they are not the essence of our worth. Our value is not based on the titles we hold or the tasks we perform, but on the inherent qualities that make us human: our integrity, kindness, empathy, resilience, and love. When we tie our worth to what we do, we set ourselves up for disappointment and burnout. We begin to feel that we are only valuable if we are constantly achieving or proving ourselves. This mindset leads to a never-ending cycle of striving for more promotions, more recognition, more accomplishments, yet it never seems to be enough. Each success is followed by the pressure to achieve the next one. This pursuit of validation through external means can leave us feeling empty, as we realize that no matter how much we accomplish, our true worth has never been tied to these things. On the other hand, when we recognize that our worth is rooted in who we are, we free ourselves from the constant need for validation. Our worth is intrinsic; it comes from within, not from external achievements. It is based on the love we give, the way we show up for others, the courage we display in the face of challenges, and the authenticity with which we live our lives. These qualities cannot be measured by job titles or accomplishments. They are immeasurable, timeless, and unchanging. No external success can add to our worth, just as no failure can take it away. We are worthy simply because we exist. Moreover, when we focus on who we are rather than what we do, we begin to embrace the beauty of our imperfections. In a world that often demands perfection, it can be easy to feel inadequate or unworthy when we fall short of expectations. But our imperfections are what make us human, and they are an integral part of who we are. It is through our struggles, our failures, and our growth that we find our true strength. When we accept ourselves fully flaws and all, we release the pressure to live up to unrealistic standards, allowing ourselves to simply be. We can let go of the need to perform or prove ourselves and instead focus on living authentically, knowing that our worth is not contingent upon how well we measure up to external expectations. Recognizing that our worth lies in who we are, not what we do, also shifts our perspective on success. Success is no longer defined by titles, wealth, or recognition. It becomes a measure of how we live our lives and the impact we have on others. Success is found in the relationships we build, the love we share, and the kindness we extend to those around us. It is found in the moments of vulnerability, the courage to be ourselves, and the ability to overcome challenges with grace and resilience. When we define success in terms of personal growth, connection, and love, we begin to see that we are already successful, regardless of our job title or external accomplishments. This shift in perspective also allows us to cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace. When we stop measuring our worth by what we do, we no longer feel the need to compete or compare ourselves to others. We begin to focus on our own journey, embracing our unique path without judgment or self-criticism. We stop looking for validation from external sources and start to find it within ourselves. We learn to appreciate our own journey and to value the qualities that make us who we are, rather than the external labels we wear. When we understand that our worth is in who we are, we also become more compassionate toward others. We stop judging people based on their achievements or titles and start to recognize their inherent worth. We see the person beyond the job or the status, acknowledging the value of their character, their actions, and their heart. This shift in perspective fosters deeper connections and a greater sense of empathy as we begin to see that we are all worthy simply because we exist, not because of what we do or have. It's important to remember that our worth is not tied to our productivity or external accomplishments. We are worthy of love, respect, and happiness, not because of what we achieve, but because of who we are at our core. We are worthy of love and compassion simply because we are human. Our worth is not something to be earned or achieved. It is inherent in our existence. The next time you find yourself striving for validation or seeking recognition, take a moment to reflect on who you are, not what you do. Recognize that your value is not dependent on titles, accomplishments, or external success. Your worth is in your character, your kindness, your love, and the way you show up in the world. These qualities are what truly define you, and they are the only measure of your true worth. We often live our lives with a constant sense of striving, seeking approval, and attempting to meet the expectations placed upon us by others. From a young age, we are taught that we must achieve certain things to be successful, whether it's excelling in school, advancing in our careers, or achieving a particular status. These external expectations shape much of how we view ourselves and what we believe we must accomplish to be worthy. However, living solely within these expectations limits our potential and inhibits our ability to grow into our most authentic selves. True fulfillment comes when we learn to live beyond these expectations and instead focus on what truly matters to us based on our own desires and values. Living beyond expectations starts with recognizing that we are not defined by the standards set by society, family, or peers. While external expectations may serve as guidelines, they do not determine our worth or define our success. We are often conditioned to believe that we must meet specific milestones to be considered successful, but these predetermined paths can feel confining. The more we try to meet these expectations, the more we might lose sight of who we truly are and what we genuinely want from life. When we break free from these limitations and allow ourselves to dream beyond the conventional boundaries, we open up a world of possibilities. This means stepping away from comparing ourselves to others, whose journeys may be different from our own. It's about releasing the idea that we must follow a specific blueprint to find happiness or fulfillment. When we live beyond expectations, we start to embrace the freedom of charting our own course based on our passions, values, and unique desires. One key to living beyond expectations is to let go of the fear of failure. Society often teaches us that failure is something to avoid at all costs, that mistakes reflect inadequacy. This fear can become paralyzing, preventing us from taking risks and venturing into new territories. However, failure is not the end, it is simply part of the process of growth and learning. When we allow ourselves to live beyond expectations, we become open to new experiences, knowing that setbacks and challenges are simply stepping stones on the path to something greater. Each experience, whether it is a success or a failure, adds to our wisdom and resilience, helping us become the person we are meant to be. Living beyond expectations also means trusting ourselves and our inner guidance. It requires a deep belief in our own abilities and intuition, even when others may doubt us or question our choices. The more we tune into our own instincts and desires, the more we realize that the path we choose to take is not about meeting the approval of others, but about aligning with our deepest truth. Trusting ourselves allows us to break free from the need for external validation and to instead seek internal fulfillment. We are no longer dependent on others' expectations, but rather guided by our own sense of purpose and direction. It's important to recognize that the pursuit of living beyond expectations is not about rejecting responsibility or abandoning goals. It's about rethinking what success means and understanding that we can define success for ourselves. When we stop living for the approval of others, we begin to focus on what makes us feel truly alive, whether that's pursuing a passion, cultivating meaningful relationships, or simply enjoying the present moment. It's about creating a life that feels true to us rather than one that is dictated by external pressures. Living beyond expectations can also lead to greater happiness and contentment. We often tie our happiness to achieving specific goals or meeting particular standards, but when we place our happiness in the hands of external expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Expectations can shift, and they can be influenced by factors beyond our control, but our internal sense of peace and fulfillment is always available to us if we stop looking for it in external sources. By living authentically, free from the burden of others' expectations, we create a space where joy, contentment, and peace can thrive. Happiness comes from within, and it grows stronger when we live in alignment with our own desires and values. Another powerful aspect of living beyond expectations is the ability to embrace uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and we often feel a need to control outcomes. However, the more we try to control the future, the more we resist the flow of life. Living beyond expectations means accepting that we cannot predict every outcome or control every situation. Instead of fearing the unknown, we learn to embrace it. We let go of rigid plans and open ourselves to new possibilities, trusting that life has a way of unfolding in ways that are often better than we could have imagined. Living beyond expectations also invites us to challenge societal norms and expectations that may no longer serve us. Many of the expectations placed upon us are outdated or based on values that no longer resonate with who we are today. This could be expectations related to career, relationships, or lifestyle. As we evolve, we may find that we no longer align with these norms. In such cases, it takes great courage to step outside of the expected and forge a new path. It is through this courage that we unlock our potential and step into a life that feels truly ours. Living beyond expectations means having the strength to follow our own path, even if it looks different from what others expect or approve of. When we begin to live beyond expectations, we shift our mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. We no longer see the world as a place where we must fit into predefined molds or follow certain rules. Instead, we view it as a landscape full of opportunities ready for us to explore and shape according to our desires. This mindset encourages creativity, innovation, and personal growth. It allows us to pursue goals and dreams that are not constrained by the limitations of others' expectations, leading to a life that is uniquely our own. Ultimately, living beyond expectations is about embracing the fullness of who we are and trusting that we are enough. It's about letting go of the pressure to live up to someone else's idea of success and embracing our individuality.